welcome to My Only Friends podcast. In this episode with Sarah Quinn, who is my best friend, we talk about our love for friends and how it helps us each in different ways. We touch on topics of grief, depression, and anxiety. You'll get a taste of what our weekly FaceTimes sound like. Sarah is my lifeline in this world, and I'm so grateful we got to have this conversation. After we had this conversation, I felt so hopeful and proud that I had an idea and I followed it through. And it made me think of the Friends episode, the one with George Stephanopoulos, which is actually where Sarah's favorite Friends quote comes from. Rachel asks Phoebe, "Do you have a plan?" And Phoebe responds, "I don't even have a pla." And Rachel just kind of feels throughout the episode that she doesn't know what she's doing with her life. All her friends are getting married or engaged, and she's getting other people's coffee. But then at the end of the episode, she's on a phone call, and she tells the person, "I'm going to be okay. I have magic beans." Because she's looking at all her friends and realizing that she has all she needs because these people are supportive of her and they love her and they're bringing out the best of her. So I really just thought that that episode correlated a lot with this episode because that is truly how I feel about Sarah. She is my magic bean. Anyways, I hope you enjoy the first episode of My Only Friends podcast. Please remember to subscribe, like, write reviews, share, whatever you can do to support. I really appreciate it. I'm having so much fun doing this and getting to know people on a deeper level and seeing shows in a completely new way. Okay, here's Sarah Quinn.
Well, don't ask me like it's like that.
Brittany,
okay, listen.
Tell me about your podcast. Tell me about what you're doing with this podcast.
So
what do you hope to achieve with this?
So I wanted to start this podcast. I had this idea from Mickey. Mickey sent me this video. I forget who the guy is. He's like some guy who does a ton of TED Talks. But he was like, I guarantee you that there's somebody out there who watches Friends every night to fall asleep or, knows it by heart and watches it every single day. And it is their show, but it is more so like their show that they use to escape. Mm-hmm. And he was like, why not turn the thing that you use to escape into something that brings you joy? And like, while Friends does bring me so much joy, I could watch it anytime. I more so do use it to escape or like calm myself down with anxiety. So I was like, why don't I create a podcast of something about Friends where it's like kind of like a rewatch show, but also like what it's done for my mental health, because I've had so much happen. I mean, living in LA for the past 10 years, like I think everybody's mental health in LA just is like
in the world
wavering thin. And with social media and the world and a lot of people during COVID, like we had nothing but TV and movies to turn to, and like thank God for that. And then it was also like, well, why don't I have other people on and have them talk about like what's their show that they go to when they're depressed or anxious, or like I know there was one time I had to get a blood draw. It was like I had to do a blood draw every 30 minutes for 4 hours. And they like injected me with, it's called a glucagon stim test. And they injected me with the stuff, and then it makes you really sick and they see what it does to your blood. And I brought my iPad with me, and I just remember like, I was feeling fine. And then by like an hour and a half into it, I was like, I don't think I'm going to make it through this. And I put Friends on and I immediately like fell asleep, and I slept through the rest of the test. And it's just like this weird thing. Like I always watch it when I fall asleep, and I'll just like kind of be sitting there, like falling asleep, and like something funny will happen. I'm like, like,
just like 10 seconds in advance because you know it all is coming anyway. Yeah,
exactly. But that's why like I know it so well. So it's like, it's not one of those. Yeah. And like, it's not one of those shows where I have to like, we have it on right now, and I know this episode like the back of my hand. Mm-hmm. But when I'm falling asleep, like, I mean, there will be times where I get really into the storyline again and I will stay awake and watch it. Mm-hmm. It's like I've never seen it before. But for the most part, if I'm watching it before bed, I feel fine falling asleep because it shuts off my thoughts and I can just hear what's happening and I can still see it.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to keep my eyes open. I could still see exactly what they're wearing, exactly what they're about to do. And it helps my thoughts stop ruminating so much. We're like, and even if like Gilmore Girls is my depression show, so it's like if I could feel my depression really kicking in, I put on Gilmore Girls because
How many times have you watched Gilmore Girls?
during the pandemic, I rewatched Gilmore Girls 4 times.
Dude.
When I got my appendix out, I watched it all the way through. And that's including A Year in the Life, the revival, like all the way through.
Wow.
But it's just one of those things where like I will go to sleep and Gilmore Girls will be on. If I wake up in the middle of the night, I will be like one eye open, turning on Friends to fall back asleep because it's almost instant. Like my thoughts are instant in the middle of the night of like, oh my God, I don't have this and I need to get this done. And oh my gosh, what about that one time that I did this? And like, are they still thinking about that? I wonder where that cup is. Like just stupid shit.
Yeah.
And like, it will keep me awake. Or I'm like, what are my dogs doing right now? Like, I miss them. I miss this, you know, like.
Yeah, it's the unknown. That's like what stresses us out. That's what gives us anxiety.
Right.
The unknown. So to know everything that's going to happen in Friends, it's like, that's your calm. That's your peace. That's your comfort.
Exactly.
There's no guessing.
Exactly.
Takes it out.
So like, and I know that I'm not the only person who does this, but we always think we're the only people in the world who are going through any of this.
Yeah.
So I was like, why don't I make a podcast about like, you know, a little bit of a rewatch show and also like a show to bring awareness to different mental health issues? Because I know I watch Friends because of this reason, but somebody else might watch Friends because, you know, they have bipolar disorder or like it helps them with an eating disorder. Like there's so many different things that everybody struggles with. So it's like, I just want to be able to help somebody also. And I think it's like creating an awareness also to like shows I've never watched before. Like I know I have a friend who when they are depressed, they watch X-Men. Like
that's wild.
And I've never seen X-Men before. But like I could then invite, you know, him on and say, let's watch X-Men and let's talk about it. And then like, tell me like why this is the show. Like, and I just feel like there's so many shows that have helped my mental health or like pulled me out of a really deep depression. Like, I mean, I just watched literally everything Sebastian Stan has ever been in. Literally anything. Mostly because I'm pretty sure we're getting married.
Mostly. I'll be there.
But it was like, I'll be there.
Yeah.
But it's like certain shows find you in certain times in your life and they really make you think differently or inspire you a lot. Yeah. And like when I was watching all these Sebastian Stan films and like all his movies, I'm like, he's fearless. Like he's such a fearless actor. And it inspired me. I'm like, that's what I want to be. I want to be that type of actor and like get down to like the make believe of it all again. And like, I was watching a lot of all of his films and like Marvel and all of that when I was just feeling like I was uninspired. So just hearing what shows for people really to escape, but also like what show got them through such a hard time.
Yeah.
And like, for me, that was Friends. I mean, I've had so many health battles in the past 5 years where, and, you know, I'm sure it'll come up in like along the episodes. It's not something, you know, we don't have time for that right now.
I don't have time for that. It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot. Warning.
Trigger warning. Trigger. No, but it's true. I mean, any show, but that's what I was saying, even movies. Yeah. Movies, shows. When I watched Euphoria and it was like so depressing, but it was like the whole situation with her dad and it going back. Right. And I literally just like, it was like, I didn't even know I had like needed that cry. Right. But it hit me and it was like midnight and Sotero and Sydney were sleeping. And that scene of them like going to the church and her like embracing, I was like just hot, like sobbing. Hyperventilating, got out my journal and started just like writing. And I like go back to that page and see, and it's so depressing. Yeah. But it's like I needed that release, but I would have never got that if I didn't see that scene. Exactly. At all.
Isn't that amazing?
It's amazing because it's like, it also makes you feel so seen too. You're like, this is so deep and I don't want other people to feel this way. So I don't want to talk about it when we're supposed to be having a good time together. But then you watch and you're like, damn, everyone's going through that. Right. Like everyone's going through a version of that. Right. And it's amazing.
And that's, so that's why I'm like, I just want to have like, look, all I do is talk about Friends or Gilmore Girls or Sebastian Stan all day long to anybody who will listen.
Yeah.
And Britney Spears.
Me,
but
I will.
Yeah, that's true. So I'm like, why
I don't know any of them, but no, I'm just kidding. I know Friends.
Stalked
That's
them all.
But Friends, again, is like a past life. Like it's when life was good in our brains. We didn't have the worries of the world. We were raised on it. So we get to go back and think of like mom and dad in the backyard, them making us like an after school snack and like eating.
Right.
And just having like no worries or stresses in the world. So it transports us back there.
Right. And not only that, but it's like, for me too, it's like, it's the one show we can all agree on.
Yes.
Like, you know, if I'm home with my family and like, you know, sometimes you don't got a whole lot to say, or like there's tension, or it was a rough day in the household. But then you turn Friends on and it's like something's going to break the tension.
Yes.
Someone's going to laugh. But I mean, Friends for me is just like one of those shows where it's like, I mean, I truly feel like I know these people.
You really do. They are like dear to your heart.
They are. Like
I love Friends.
Yeah.
I love Friends. But like you take the cake on anyone I know.
I think about them every day.
You really do.
And for those listening, my apartment is literally purple. It has a yellow door frame. It has Friends memorabilia all over it. And at first it started out like subtle memorabilia, but then everybody was like, oh, she loves Friends.
Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, everyone.
I love you, but please don't send me a sign that says how you doing.
But I'm going to. Christmas gifts.
I don't need any more Friends socks.
How you doing?
I don't need a pivot mug.
Can I offer you a sarcastic comment?
Good for you, but I've got it all.
Oh.
Got it all, and I don't need any more.
But I'm sending something.
If somebody wants
Unless it's homemade.
That's true.
Unless it's homemade and no one else has it.
That's true.
That's it.
Sarah also threw me a 30th birthday that's identical to Rachel Green's, and it was incredible. She got me the shirt, the crown, the same balloons, the banner.
Get you the shirt. I had to make it because it wasn't.
I couldn't.
Well, it probably was available. I just am last minute, so I had to paint it.
You painted that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like 10 minutes before I went.
So good.
Because I printed it. Yeah. And then I printed it backwards. And I was so mad. And that was my last freaking iron-on thing. And then I freaking, anyways.
No.
But it was good.
Yeah.
It ended up being fine.
It was amazing. But that's, I don't know. I just always I can refer everything back to a Friends episode.
Everything. Every comment.
And it's like, it makes you feel like, one, it just makes you feel less alone in this world. And I think everybody universally, we all think we're alone, even though we're not. And like, I've even told you, like, I know that I have friends. I know that I have people I can call on. But when you're going through like your anxiety or your depression, you're sitting there and you're like, there's no possible way anybody can help me right now. And like, it's like this, like, it literally feels like a dagger in your heart. You're so alone and you're just like, what do I do? Who do I call? And then like literally the first thing that anybody says to me when I call them up crying and I'm like, I need to calm down, they're like, drink some water, take a shower, turn on Friends.
Yeah.
You're okay.
Straight up.
And also like how amazing for this like cast of people to be like so timeless. Like I was just in CVS the other day and they're selling Friends shirts at CVS.
I know.
But it's like, that's the thing.
Ross now freaking all the places. TJ Maxx.
I was like, what about Ross?
Yeah. And Ross Geller is also being sold at Ross stores.
Thank God I'm on my way. But it's like, I think that's the thing why they're so universally loved and why this show will never get old is because like when you're in your 20s, you relate to them. Yeah. And then this show goes on up until they're in their 30s, it's you relate to them. Yeah, and true. Like, there's literally not an episode where you're not like, oh my God, I've been through that. Like the 5 steaks and an eggplant. Dude. When they're like, all like, how am I going to afford this? Yes. And like half the table can afford the meal and the other half is just like.
That's like, I'm getting the salad. Like literally. That's everywhere I go. Yeah. Like we're paying for our own meals.
Yeah.
We are not. That's the worst. I just was watching the one with the wedding and Rachel, how she's like, and Phoebe's like, it's negative. And she's so sad about the pregnancy test. And then she's like, just kidding, it's positive. And she's like, yes. And I was like, yes. My heart, because it's true. Yeah. It's like, I mean, unless you don't want to be pregnant, you know what I mean? Yeah. But like those type of things, even that, it's like, I remember being like so sad because I just took a pregnancy test and I was like so sad that I wasn't pregnant. Yeah. In a way. Cause I'm like, dang, because I already know how it is to be pregnant, you know? But Do you know what I'm saying?
Spoiler alert. I had no idea you wanted another baby.
I know. I didn't know that either. But that's what I'm saying. It's like you don't know it until you take it. And then you're like, dang, it's negative. And like it tells you your real feelings about it. Because you're like, kind of like sad and depressed about it. But before I took my test, I was like, hopefully it's negative. Hopefully it's negative, you know?
Yeah.
It's just weird. But it was so relatable because I'm like, damn.
Yeah. So that's why basically I wanted to do this podcast because there's so much room for conversation. And I think more people have become so much more aware of their mental health. And like, you know, podcasts now are doing like sponsored by therapy. And like, I have been in therapy ad nauseum. Like,
and telling me too.
I mean, I love therapy. And look, like,
not in a bad way telling me, but like, you would benefit from it. You know, I would.
I think there isn't a single person who wouldn't benefit from therapy, and shows and like talking about our feelings with our friends are also very therapeutic, and like sharing knowledge with other people, like little gems that my therapist has given me and be able to
me. Yeah. Totally.
So I really was just like, I want to get to know people better and I want to spread more awareness of different disorders because there's definitely things like by listening to podcasts or watching shows or watching movies where I'm like, oh, I act like that. Mm-hmm. Like I might have that. I mean,
self-awareness.
Self-awareness. And when you go, oh, I didn't know that was like a problem. I had that kind of happen.
Right.
Or like.
Right. Seeing it emulated in person or in like TV. You're like, wow.
And so I was like, you know, it would be a great way to get to rewatch some old episodes of television with other people and also like hear about new shows and like see something new I've never seen before. And
people coping with different types of illnesses or issues that they're going through mentally. Maybe someone could be like, I'm going through that. Maybe I should check out that.
Right.
Like if there's like, for instance, if you're asking what scene or what episode or whatever, then people could be drawn to something and maybe be helped by it.
Right.
Totally.
Yeah. Cause there's definitely like, I mean, there was a line from Scandal, like the finale of Scandal that Kerry Washington said, where she said, your truth is your power. And literally
said, I'm stepping into it.
Oh my God. After I watched that, then I ended up coming forward about a certain situation and it changed my life completely.
Dude. And it was the end of Legally Blonde. I never went to freaking college.
You're like, oh, I just graduated Harvard.
I was like, what? Like it's hard?
Yeah, exactly.
No, but it's true. You came forward about that situation.
Yeah. And it just like, I think movies and television, I think art in general changes your life and saves your life. And for me, Friends is the holy grail. Yeah. Like when I'm 100%. When I'm happy, I want to watch Friends. When I'm sad, I want to watch Friends. When I have anxiety, I want to watch Friends. Like if I have people coming over, it's always on in the background. Yes. And like there's so many obscure quotes that I say from the show or just like, and so many people reach out to me about it that I haven't talked to in so long. But it really just brought this whole new awareness of like, you know, the certain things that people do to cope with their mental health. Yeah. And like for me, this is the one show that cures my anxiety. I will be having crippling, breathtaking anxiety at night where I'm like laying in bed. I can't catch my breath.
You're dying.
Yes, literally. Like there's been plenty of times I've texted you where I'm like, I just like can't breathe. And like, this is really bad. And you know, I'll turn on Friends
and literally none of your friends except for your only friends help you.
Yeah, my only friends. Because it's like 3:00 in the morning.
Rage?
Yeah. Like who's going to pick up the phone at 3 a.m.? Not a lot of people, but I can always turn Friends on.
Just kidding.
I mean, sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes. It depends.
If you
call Satero and
your
say
fiance
it's an emergency,
first, then you'll answer the phone.
I'm the worst, but also the best.
What is your go-to show?
It's Friends. 100%.
But to help you with your anxiety or depression or both?
I would say both because or even just not being able to sleep. That's what I put on, you know? But again, it's not really because I'm like so obsessed with it. I just think that it transports me back in time to when I was little and I didn't have the worry of the world and like not knowing. It just reminds me of being at home and like with my family all together.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like that. I don't know. It just reminds me of those times, like nostalgia. That's like the biggest thing, right? Nostalgia is like what brings us back to like familiar.
Right.
Which is why they like redo everything and reboot everything and everything's coming back because like that's what the people want.
Right.
Unfortunately, they don't do it as good.
Yeah, it just still doesn't have that feel because it's like,
but that's what they, the numbers go up for like Gilmore Girls, like the pandemic, Friends went up. The Office was like streamed like, I don't even know, 87 like million times or something like that. I like looked it up because I'm like, all of those shows, I mean, it's all nostalgia. Like we're all like going back in time where it's like familiar to us and it's just comforting and peaceful. That's what it is for me. And it's nothing scary. I don't like, even like some people go to like, they were watching Squid Games.
Nope.
Like, what?
Nope.
But some people were saying, like this article I was reading was saying the reason people are going there for comfort is because
it can't get much worse.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. Like, it's like our life was so bad in the pandemic. People thought like, I'm so scared of the future. So then they want to like escape into a reality that's worse than theirs so that they feel like, oh shit, I'm good. You know, like it could be worse.
Right.
So a lot of people escape in that way. I don't escape in that way because I don't need more stress.
No.
Which is why Friends is like the Friends in the Office. It's always comedy for me. 100%. I have to have like comedy relief, not like I don't want to escape into a stressful world.
Right.
Because we're already here.
Yeah. And like
but people do.
It's so weird because like, can you think of one Friends episode that you won't watch because it stresses you out?
Yes.
Which one?
Hold on. It's the beach one. Always. The sand.
Really?
I don't know why. The sand and then the writing of the letters and then her shaving her head. It's just like, it like makes me have anxiety.
That's so funny.
And yeah, I think that's probably the most
Why do you think
one.
It gives you anxiety though? I mean, I hate the beach. I hate sand.
I hate the ocean, like knowing that something's going to flood. I don't know what it is about that episode. Or maybe it's because I had that one on DVD and maybe I watched it so many times and maybe it was like a stressful time in my life when I got it. I don't know.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't know. But it stresses me out. I don't like watching that one. I skip it.
Is so funny.
I know. I'm like.
Because that is like not one I would ever think about.
What's yours?
The one that sticks out a lot for me, and I know there's two. So when Rachel is trying to like impress Joshua and she's embarrassing the shit out of herself the whole episode.
At her job?
No, and she like throws the surprise going away party for Emily.
Oh, yes.
And she's like, you know, knocks out her gives herself a fat
No, but they
lip.
meet at her job, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But the secondhand embarrassment it gives me, I'm like, oh my God. And like, you're like, how did she, like, as an actor, like, that was, she like just went stupid. For it. Like, she fully committed, but you're like, this is so embarrassing. But I think that's also why I want to be a comedic actress is because it's like, you would think like, oh my God, Jennifer Aniston, like, she can't be embarrassing. She can't be stupid or like look dumb. And you're like, she just went for it. Like it's again, the fearless type of acting that I'm so attracted to of like people who just like don't care who they are, what they look like. They're just fully committed to it. But so that one. And I hate when they lose their apartment. I hate that episode. Oh my God. It gives me so much anxiety.
That is so true.
I hate that episode. I can also not hate it because it's so good and I know so funny. I know all the questions to the trivia, but it's like I just hate the way it makes me feel because I'm like, oh my God, like Monica, like when she's like, I'm just trying to spice it up and Rachel's like, so then play for some pepper. Like one of my favorite lines.
Stresses me out.
But I'm like, yeah, dude, Monica, you're pissing me off.
Like, this isn't realistic. You're not going to give up your freaking apartment.
No way. I would literally never. I'd be so pissed.
Yeah, no, it's true.
That one. That and then there's ones where I'm like, I can't watch it. The one where Rachel smokes because then it makes me want to smoke.
Oh, that's weird.
It makes me want to smoke.
But you have that type of mentality too, where it's like because we're so attracted to like certain icons, you know, so it makes you want to do it. Like if she had, I mean,
absolutely,
that's everyone.
But even when I watch Sex and the City and Sarah Jessica Parker's ripping a cigarette,
yeah, that's true.
I'm like,
well, that's
she
addiction.
Makes it look. Yeah, I mean, but she makes it look just like
sexy,
chic, and like that's gotta if it's gotta work, it's gotta feel great if she's doing it.
She's doing it. I mean, when I watch Peaky fucking Blinders,
I am the influenced of the influencers.
You are, but in a good way. Like it's only people you really like though, and like that have been loyal this whole time, and they haven't gone off rails. Like they've all been very consistent with
true to themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
I definitely am.
Not like it's not like trendy.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I like this because I trust their opinion.
Right. I think with Friends too, like even just like seeing it right now, I'm like,
just feels so good.
When I watch Friends, I watch it from a different perspective each time.
Yes, because you got to see it so many different ways too.
Yeah. Too, like,
how many ways have you gotten to see it?
Well, there's 6 of them. So 6 ways.
No, I mean like you've watched it in person, like you've been not in person, but like you've been to a sitcom where they film that way. So you told me like you see on sidelines now. You get what I'm saying? I thought that's where you're going.
Oh, yeah. So, like, with Friends, I never am thinking about how the sausage is made. Mm-hmm. That's why I like, I feel like that's why I can watch all the time. Like, with Gilmore Girls, right now I'm watching it because it's a hard time. But
it's hard.
Yeah. I literally gave myself away. Like, guys, if I'm watching Gilmore Girls, I'm depressed.
Which is I'm always watching Gilmore Girls.
Don't check in on me. Just leave me alone with Nick and Lorelai.
As a friend, just check in on her, okay? Please check in.
I'm okay.
Check in. No, she wants invited, but she's not coming. Okay? Period. That's it. That's everyone. That's me too.
Oh my God. But like, I'm watching Gilmore Girls right now, and the whole time I'm like thinking about like, how did Lorelai prepare for this part? Because it's so wordy, or I'm like, yeah, I think about that a lot, and sometimes I can't separate it. But with Friends, I can, which is so weird. But like, even like watching Rachel right now in the background, like she just looked right at the camera.
I know.
But I've never noticed that before until this very moment.
That's weird.
So that's why I'm like, I love it.
There's always little like Easter eggs that you get.
So
not even Easter eggs,
many
but little
times.
Like, wow, how many times can you watch this and not pick up on something? That's the beauty of all the shows.
Well, the best thing ever was when I went to Universal Studios, and I thought this thing was going to be sold out. And they were screening 6 episodes of all the Thanksgiving episodes of Friends. And I was like, oh, I got to show up early. I got to get my
camped
treats. Out. I get there and it's 4:00 because I'm an old lady and I went to the matinee. And I'm
also cheaper though.
True. I don't know. It was a special event.
Oh, same thing. Price. Never mind.
So they're doing trivia before, and I'm like, I win. Like nobody else is there. I'm killing it.
You would have won anyways. But.
And then I was like, wait a second. Are they going to surprise me? Like I was sitting by myself in this theater for like, they're screening 6 episodes of Friends.
I'm hurting for you right now.
I legit was like, oh my God. I
won the biggest fan award.
I won.
Here I am.
They're all going to come out and surprise me. Someone from Friends is coming out to surprise me.
That's not right. Oh, no,
that's not right. Literally watched... I was in a giant AMC theater, dead center, and I was just watching Friends on a big screen.
By yourself.
Best day of my life. Best day of my entire life. But I'm watching it and I'm like seeing their marks on the floor. And I'm like, oh, that's what's in the background? Because, you know, I'm watching it on my tiny TV at home.
Right.
So I'm seeing all these things for the first time. And like, it was amazing. And I remember I FaceTimed you.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting there watching Friends with you in a giant
we were having
theater.
So much fun.
And like that, I think that was the happiest I'd ever been.
Dude, that's actually the best money you've ever spent.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Best date I've ever been in LA too. For sure.
It is wild because you would point out things after that and be like,
yeah,
that I never saw that. I never saw like seeing everything big was just so much more like not overwhelming, but it was just like you got to like immerse yourself into it, like be in it.
And like I remember there were like beads on the end of Rachel's sleeves, and I was like, I've never noticed that, but just like little things.
Yeah.
But
that's crazy.
It's definitely, but I don't have knock on wood, I don't have a bad story about Friends.
Right.
And I think that's why
They're
go to
all
it.
Uplifting.
It's so constant in like keeping my joy levels and like.
Because you can turn it on, especially now with streaming. You could turn it on anytime, anywhere.
Yeah.
Like and that's the beauty of shows
when it went away in 2020.
Yeah. And which that was fucked up.
So eerie.
2020, bro.
I know.
For them to pull that card in 2020.
I mean, that should have been like literally everybody should have been like, now it's everything's downhill. Everything's going downhill. But I remember when I was watching it and they took it off Netflix, it all just went black. And I was like, I felt like someone died. It was so bad. And then during COVID, I didn't have the DVDs yet. So I was like, what am I supposed to do?
Oh, yeah.
So I bought like 20 episodes off iTunes. Right. I just watched like the same ones over and over again. But it's interesting because it's like, again, there's different shows in your life that help you through certain times.
Yes.
And I think I just want to know what that is for so many people. And
yeah, because for you, it's always been that, Sarah. Like, how is it not Friends for you and you and you and all of you?
Or even the fact that it is Friends for you, but like
it's
you
different.
have so many different reasonings for not liking certain episodes. And like, because what it does to you mentally or like the anxiety it gives you. But really just like knowing
that people all come back to this form of art for some sort of relief.
Yeah.
Or like to feel comfort. How beautiful is that? And for like people to also watch things that give you anxiety, but it brings them comfort.
Our anxiety,
like X-Men, bro.
Right.
That's
and like
crazy.
our anxiety is so different from one another's, and our depression is so different from one another's. Like,
because our lives have been different. What's striking us, the traumatic events that have happened in our lives are totally different.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And like for me, my depression just gets like apathetic, where I'm like, I really don't care. Like you can, I just literally have nothing in me to give. And I'm just like going through the motions, and I just am like, whatever.
Yeah. It's like a numbness.
And it's really one of those things where like, when I feel like I'll never laugh again, or like, I'll never feel like I feel like what I'm going through is so just, you know, specific to me. And then you turn on Friends and you're like, oh no, they're literally going through the same thing right now.
Like someone did because they're writing about it, you know? Totally. What mental health issue do you struggle with the most?
I mean, oh gosh, mine is anxiety and depression, and mine turns into one another very quickly. Like I'll be very, very anxious, and I'll feel like I have to be super productive. And then it's like extreme burnout. And then it turns into the depression.
Right.
And the anxiety more so happens like at night, of like the ruminating thoughts. And that's why I turn on Friends, because it stops those ruminating thoughts.
Yes. What's a habit you picked up on because of a character?
I think that, well, you know, in acting classes and stuff, I would just try to really like, there's a lot of like mannerisms that Rachel and Chandler do that I really picked up on.
I mean, you also Hilary Duff. I mean,
that's true.
You always have little bits of her.
But I think because I just wanted to be her so bad.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like you have little bits of you now that you don't even know, probably, that remind me of like Lizzie McGuire. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess.
But it's just because she, like, that was your person. That was your idol forever.
Right. And now it's Jennifer Aniston.
Exactly. While still being Hilary Duff.
Yeah, I mean,
like still looking up to her and loving her, but like,
but I think like what I do say a lot that I don't realize is, oh no, like Phoebe, I do that a lot. Oh no,
yeah, I could see that. What episode is too hard for you to watch? We already pretty much covered that.
Yeah, okay. I mean,
yeah, what's hard though to watch? Not be like gives you anxiety, like
the finale.
I don't ever want to watch that ever. That's also one that I've avoided. I never go that far.
I don't think I've watched season 10.
I was going to say, I think the whole last season, I just,
can't watch
because
it.
you know, it's what it's leading up to.
I know that it's ending, and it's also just like I'm like so sad about it, because then I also like think about how those actors felt leaving there and how they all like, you know, don't get together all the time like they used to. And like, what a time that represented for so many of them. But then also I just get so like, I'm like, wow, she couldn't give that apartment to one of them. Like she just straight up left the apartment. Right. Like I just get so, and it's the nostalgia of it all. And like, you're like, how did 10 years go by?
Well, it also like represents when I feel like when we watch that episode, we're like, that's about the time that life started sucking. Like, you know what I mean? Because it was like, you're getting older. I remember watching that. I remember where I was like when it was on TV.
Right.
And it was like airing for the first time.
Right.
And I was like thinking of that. I was at my aunt's house. She's passed now. And it used to be like so lively in her house and like just parties happening all the time. And then to think of me watching it there and now that house not even existing, it just represents like life just going like Great Gatsby style. It's like these parties, and then it's like at some point everything good comes to an end, and it's like that fucks me up.
Are we gonna cry right now?
I hate this.
Oh God.
But it's sad.
It's so sad.
Don't cry, because I'll cry, and I don't like that.
Then we're gonna have headaches.
Oh no, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that.
No, I totally get it, and it's like
I don't want to know that because it is final. Everything is final.
Well, then it's kind of like, and then you miss these people.
But then you watch. No, I did, but it's okay. We're done. But then you watch the reunion, and how sad is that? Like, Sotero doesn't even like watching Friends because of how they look now. Like, even though they're all amazing, like, they're still beautiful, but it's like,
because it makes you're back in reality, and you're like,
exactly,
you want to see these people.
That makes him depressed.
And like, how hard must that be for them though, as the actors?
I would never watch myself.
But they can't escape themselves. I mean, they go to CVS and they're on a t-shirt. So it's like,
so true.
They can't escape that time in their lives either, which is really good. But then also, like, Jennifer Aniston and Courtney Cox, and like, they all went through really hard things while being on this show also. So it's just so...
And like different relationships in every episode. I can't imagine, because I'm thinking of like where I was when I watched that episode. Now imagine like where they were in their lives filming that, like putting a show on.
It's
still
trippy.
Even though they're depressed or going through things, and they're still showing up and like making us laugh.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. I mean, I cried so hard. But how amazing. I cried so hard watching the reunion show.
The reunion was not okay.
It messed me
up. It was not well.
And like, I was just not okay. And like, just like, I don't know.
It's like this desolate feeling I get of just like some things are only okay for that moment, like all good things like have their time, And
it's so true. They do. Yeah. But then
you can't force things to be genuine and like good all the time.
Right. I know.
But that's the beauty of like Monica and Rachel. I mean, they're best friends in real life. And that's like, what more could we want from that?
I know. You're the Monica to my Rachel. Like the only person.
So don't ever get it twisted, bitch.
If I've ever said that to you before, I was lying. It's
always It's always me. It's always me. It all comes back around, baby.
Oh my God.
But it's true. It's so sad and depressing. But again, like that is why, because it's our show to escape that feeling, because my feeling is like death. I like fear death. I have anxiety of like illness. I have anxiety of things ending, like things like that. And
so when you see it ending in an episode, you're like, this is my worst nightmare.
Yeah. I never go past like the 8th season because all of them are getting older, and I'm reminded of like that.
See, I like season 9 though, because that's when Joey and Rachel are together. And
but that gives me anxiety.
Oh, I love when they're together.
Oh, that gives me it gives me anxiety.
I think I'm one of the only people that
I love
Rachel and Joey. I ship them.
But at the same time, I just wish, because it's like the whole storyline is Ross and Rachel, so you have that connection. So then it just feels so weird that you're like...
Yeah. But at the end of the day, like, Joey is the best friend out of all of them.
Oh, 100%. I mean, he's the most loyal. He's the most trusting. He loves them all genuinely. Like,
he's never screwed anybody over.
He's the best. He's also the hottest now, so...
Now?
Yeah. Out of all of them?
Oh, you're like a daddy. I think Ross is hotter now.
Oh,
like present day. I think Matt LeBlanc in like episodes when he did that show on Showtime, so hot.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Oh,
but I
just literally quite had a dream about him like last week.
I
screenshotted it. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
Hot.
But see, he hasn't even like, I feel like you can see everyone else's age. Like, he's aged the best.
Well, Jennifer Aniston, let's be honest. She looks incredible.
I'm saying guys. Alrighty. Well, I'm going back to these questions really quick because I'm your go-to episode.
My go-to episode?
Or movie. Titanic, obviously.
Well, Titanic's always gonna...
Well, Titanic is all of those emotions too.
Titanic isn't my go-to movie, but if it's on TV, I have to watch it. Like, I don't ever choose... I'm like, I'm going to sit down and watch Titanic tonight.
Right. Like, I don't want to be depressed today. Because that is depressing.
If it is on TV...
But again, it's familiar.
I feel like I will be punished if I don't watch it. And like, I was watching it with my mom like a couple of weeks ago, actually. And she was like, if you don't stop, I'm going to turn it off. So I was doing the hand gestures before they started.
And the hand gestures. Everything Brittany does like 5 seconds before. So annoying. If you don't really love her unconditionally, it's so a problem.
Annoying. It's so annoying. But it's like
I'm the same way with Ace Ventura, though.
Yeah.
Like, I freaking love that movie.
Never saw it.
I am appalled.
I know. I never saw it.
She's not my Rachel. This bitch is crazy. Ace Ventura?
Well, Courtney Cox is in that, so that's fitting for you as the Monica.
Oh my God. I'm shooketh.
I think my go-to is the pilot. I love the pilot.
That's a good one.
The pilot is my favorite Friends episode. And then, well, see, it's interesting because people will like say like, okay, I've never really watched Friends before. If I know they don't have a lot of time, I will make a curated list for a specific person.
What's your list?
My list?
Well, your
like
list
one I would make for me.
No,
or
like
recommend for you.
Recommend for like anyone that hasn't seen it.
Top 5 right off the bat. The pilot.
Mm-hmm.
The one with the thumb.
Oh my God, the best.
When she's like, not mine, not mine. Like, I don't know why it makes me laugh so hard. The one with the prom video.
That's the best
obviously. The one where nobody's ready.
So good.
Incredible.
These are great ones.
The one with Rachel's other sister.
Oh my God.
Reese
Witherspoon?
No, Christina Applegate.
Oh, okay.
That episode is one of the best TV writing ever. Everything
I don't remember that one as well.
When she calls Monica crazy plate lady and Chandler breaks all the plates on Thanksgiving.
Okay.
I mean, the jokes are so subtle. The writing is so good. Everything comes back full circle. Christina Applegate, I'm pretty sure, she won a Emmy for a guest star role on that. Yeah, like, or a Golden Globe.
What?
But literally, it's one of the best episodes ever.
Okay, that's a good one.
But I think those are like my top 5. I'm sure there's more. The
prom video is just always going to be the best.
It is the best.
Or even the one where it's like, I love the one where it's all, if it went differently.
Oh, what is that? What is that one name? That could have been, I think that's what it's called.
I love that one. It's so good. Does that give you anxiety?
No, I don't say anxiety, but I'm like,
it's just not the reality.
Well, you know what it is? It's because Rachel embarrasses me and I don't like being embarrassed for her when she throws up and doesn't hook up with Joey. Oh. I get like embarrassed. I'm like, you messed up again. Like,
hello.
I am like, you're doing this for me.
We're rooting for you.
Yeah. So
that's
I think secondhand embarrassment is like my worst.
I love it because it's so creative and you like,
that's true.
You know, I think I just like see the different costumes and different like ways that everything panned out.
Yeah.
And Fat Monica is the best. Like, it's just the best. Yeah. Are we allowed to say that?
I don't think so.
How many cameras are on you?
That is a really funny joke, though. Some girl ate Monica. I mean, look, honestly, though, when I gained a lot of weight.
That's when you got like more offended by it or what?
No, that's what I would say about myself.
Self-deprecating is our number one coping mechanism.
I would say I look like I ate myself if I saw a picture of myself.
You did say that all the time.
All the time.
You still say that. And you look amazing, so
Thanks,
it's okay.
kids.
We're just going to always self-deprecate. It's our coping mechanism.
It's the Chandler Bing in me.
That's really another interesting conversation. What scene changed your life?
The whole show.
I mean, obviously the sex scene in Titanic. I mean,
life-changing. I will say, actually, so this came out in 94, so I was 3 years old when the show came out. And my parents would watch it, and I remember some of it growing up. But the one episode that I always remembered was when Rachel and Ross had sex in the caveman exhibit.
Oh, yes.
And so I don't know if that changed my life, but it was like stuck with me. And I'm like, does that make me a perv? But I think it was just like me being a kid and being so shocked by something.
That was like me with Jerry Maguire. I was like, oh my God, I can't watch this. Wait, are they having sex?
Oh my gosh, that scene? Never saw it.
What the fuck, dude? What were you doing? Watching Friends?
Dude.
Jerry Maguire, when did that come out? I'm about to look it up. I was for sure little, and I want to show you this scene. It's bad. And my mom would always go like this in front, you know, like the eyes closed. And I'd be like, Mom, I can see it, dude.
Yeah.
But like they'd put it over, and I'd be like, thinking about it now, I'm like, wow. If you think about this, you'd have to go up to the VCR usually and like fast forward.
Yeah.
Like now we could just pause it. I guess, could they do that? I don't know. Maybe my remote was lost. 1996. That's a good one.
I've still never seen it.
What line has stuck with you?
Oh God, there's so many.
I know,
There's so many that have really, I'm really trying to think. I don't know. I mean,
you wrote this question.
Yeah, but that's for me to ask other people.
Okay, what line has stuck with me? Show me the money. Jerry Maguire.
From Friends. You said your show was Friends. You can't switch shows.
Yeah, you can. That's a line that stuck with me.
What line has stuck with you? What is a line that stuck with you that helped your mental health? That's a better way to phrase the question. That like you were like when you need to tap into something, when you're like, what's a line
from Friends?
From any show where you're like, mine is, and even though I have no friends, no family, and no money for college, it's you that I feel sorry for. I believe in myself, and I know that things are going to be okay. That's the condensed version.
I just want everyone to know that if Brittany can wrap that into any conversation ever, it's going to happen. and then eventually you'll know it.
I know that guy that wrote those emails is somewhere deep down inside of you, but I can't wait for him. Waiting for you is like waiting for rain in this drought.
I only know this because you know.
Well, it was the first monologue I ever learned for
That's
like an agency.
Dude,
they didn't sign me. Spoiler alert. Assholes.
Still not signed.
Whatever.
With them.
I'll blame it on the writing.
Yeah, like that. I don't know one. I'm trying to think. I feel like after we're done, I'm gonna be like,
for sure.
I really don't know though. I'm trying to think of all. Okay, what obscure quote do you use often?
Oh my God.
But no one else gets the reference.
If Gary were here, he'd say, "See you later."
Is it SpongeBob?
No, that's Phoebe. SpongeBob. Have we talked about SpongeBob once this whole fucking episode? We're talking about Friends.
Clearly, no one else gets it, and I'm part of that no one.
Exactly.
So that's good.
Because it's when Phoebe's dating the guy, I think he's like a food inspector guy named Gary.
Yes.
And then...
Oh my God, yes.
I can't remember if it's Rachel or Monica. They're like, okay, see you later. And he's like, she goes, if Gary were here, he'd say, see you later. And I think anytime somebody says see you later to me, I think, well, if Gary were here, and I'm like, I sound like a crazy person. That, or whenever I leave work and they're like, see you Saturday, I'm like, because there's an episode where Ross and Rachel are in bed and Ross just starts laughing and she's like, what's funny? And he's like, well, I heard you tell Mark that you'd see him Saturday. And then they start arguing because he doesn't want her to go do something with Mark. And then I forget what the line before it is, but she goes, I don't know. You thought see you Saturday was funny. So every time I hear see you Saturday, I'm like, see you Saturday's funny. Like,
oh my God.
But it's like these little things. Like
that is so like, that is for sure obscure.
But I think too, like that's with any TV or movie. It's always the really small ones that I take with me
that
forever.
You pick up. Yeah.
Like in Santa Claus, my favorite line is burn a turkey.
Exactly. It's the best though.
It's the best line.
It's the best.
Everybody else, like with Friends or any movie, it's like pivot or how you doing or like I'm Chandler. Could I be wearing any more clothes? Like those are the ones that people like will be like, and I'm like, those aren't the ones that made me laugh that hard.
Yeah.
I laugh so hard at the really, really small, intricate jokes where it's like the timing is perfect or it's just so random.
Yeah.
Like those are the ones that I really love.
I love the one where it's like, I don't even have a plug. That's my favorite.
The best.
That is the best. We were just watching the one when they're going on the honeymoon, Monica and Chandler, and they're like, why are you getting it? They're like, we're in love. Yeah. Like we don't need this. We need this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, it's a terrible hour and dying. Yeah. I'm like, it's so good.
Because it's so relatable.
It really is. It's
so good.
Okay, let's see. What character do you relate to most?
I mean, I think half Rachel, half Chandler.
Half Joey.
Half Joey. Because I'm not the smartest.
No, I'm saying like, you got to audition.
That's true. I guess as an actor, I really, when he's like, has a special skills and he's like, I can't do any of these things.
Yeah.
When he says Halloween is stupid, I think Halloween is stupid. Yes. I hate Halloween. He's like, yeah, a bunch of people getting dressed up, pretend to be something they're not, or blah, blah, blah. Chandler's like, yeah, as an actor, that is a weird thing to do. But I think too, like,
so good.
I really love, well, it's hard not to always root for Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
In life, on a show, no matter what, you just always want to root for her and be like her. And like, she's funny, she's pretty, and like, so witty, and her timing is perfect.
And she's classic. She just...
Yeah, timeless.
I mean, she has consistently had this timeless ensemble. She's never been like a trendy person. She's just always
she's been like the trendsetter.
Yeah, and like always just looks put together.
Yeah. And like with Chandler, I just think too, like the first 5 seasons of Friends are my absolute favorite.
Yeah.
And I think it's because they didn't know how funny they were yet.
Yes. Or like where they were going.
Yeah.
As a character even.
Right. And a lot of people will say like they don't like the pilot or the first, like they like the back end of it better. But like I think Chandler's jokes were funnier the first 5 seasons, even though there are times where like when Joey asks him for a bobby pin and he's like, oh wait, sorry, I'm not a 9-year-old girl. Like shit like that is so funny to me.
So good.
And I think that's how I am with my friends.
Yes.
Where I think, you know, it's being funny and witty, and sometimes it turns into a roast. So I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say,
I'm sorry.
100%. I've cried for sure. At least once. I believe it was when you called me a scarecrow.
I asked you if you got your clothes from a scarecrow.
It was so sweet. I think it might have been a really bad day.
I think it was. I just didn't pick my moment.
I think that's the only time though.
Yeah.
I ever got like offended where I was like, you know what? Fuck you. And you were like, burn a turkey.
Oh my God.
Like, dude. And then Satara was there. We were at the movies, right?
Yeah.
And it was so awkward because I was just like, I'm going to fucking punch a hole in the wall, dude. I was so mad.
Well, I think because Sataro had said like you were wearing mom jeans prior. So it's the second time somebody made a comment.
Yeah. And I was like trying to be like,
but also it's like we watch Friends and that's all they do to each other. Is,
I mean, in high school, everyone burned me all the time. And it was like, I feel like it gave me nice, thick skin. But at the same time, it like gave me a complex for sure. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
I love that. I love like that nature of I love roasting. That type of comedy because not where it's like,
well, it's always funny when it's not you.
Well, it's just.
As Chandler says, well, you know, I can dish it out, but I can't take it. That's me.
No, I can't. Yeah, same. I feel like I can't even dish it out because I feel bad most of the time. But I also feel like
I don't have that problem.
You don't have that problem, but it's because it's part of your comedy. Like
I guess. I mean, as long as you're not like being mean.
No, yeah. Anyways, agreed. Yeah, all the things agreed. What's the most useful piece of advice you've gotten for your diagnosis, mental health? That's a good one. I think that so it flows better.
Yeah.
Just like going from like the show into the mental health and like finishing it kind of with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like tangible tips of like what you can do.
Right.
Because that's what I like about podcasts when I have like tangible information. It's like funny, but tangible. Like what can I go home and do?
Right. I mean, therapy for sure. I mean, But
what about therapy?
You know, it's interesting because I went to this place, La Ventana. It was outpatient therapy. I went 5 days a week, and like you reduce your hours the better you get, basically. But this was like
a life-changing time for you.
Yeah, this was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. It was like hitting rock bottom, and I strongly believe that you should never rob somebody of hitting rock bottom because
just push them there if you can. Totally.
I think you did. No, but you did because you texted me. I remember you're like, Brittany, I cannot enable this behavior anymore. And like, you have to want to change. And I love you so much. And I don't want to see you doing this anymore. Yeah. And so, yeah, you pushed me.
We did hit rock bottom in that way.
Yeah. And so I was just like, I can't live like this anymore. And I didn't want to die, but I wanted that version of me to die. Yeah. I was like, I can't be this person anymore. And it was outpatient therapy. I went 5 days a week for maybe 6 hours a day. And then it got reduced and then reduced.
Was it expensive?
My health insurance covered the first couple weeks, but then it was really hard on me because I didn't feel like I was necessarily ready to leave. And I was really loving going there. And then my health insurance stopped covering it. So I had to leave.
Oh, wow.
They were like, they just won't cover anymore.
So out of pocket, it would have been a shit ton.
Yeah. But
good to know though.
But it was amazing because we had one-on-one therapy, and then we had group therapy. We had music therapy.
Amazing.
We had behavioral therapy. We had art therapy, and then we would watch a movie once a week.
Wow.
And
couldn't have been better, especially for the type of person you are.
Oh, it was.
I mean, anyone can benefit, but I'm just saying.
But the interesting thing is the day I got there was music therapy, and I said, I don't want to do this.
Because music
made me feel something.
Yes.
I didn't want to feel anything. Yeah. I did not want to feel anything.
Especially in a place where like you were meant to feel.
And you didn't want it so mean. I was like a wounded, pissed off, abandoned dog when I had got there.
What?
Okay. But
she's the one who calls herself a pigeon.
I think I look like a pigeon sometimes.
And the dragon from Shrek.
From Shrek, 100%.
You do look like the dragon from Shrek. Okay, keep going.
I was like, I remember I had to fill out this pamphlet of like, what's giving you anxiety right now? I was like writing in this fucking paper. Like I was pissed. I was so mean to the woman doing my intake. Like I was so mean.
Oh man.
Because I was just like mad at the world.
Yeah.
And then I went into music therapy and they were like, I think he gets sense that I was angry. And now he is like, we follow each other on Instagram. He's like amazing. I love this guy so much.
That.
We had to, he put on a song and then was like, for the next 3 minutes, write everything you're angry about. Literally everything. And I think I've told you to do this before. Yeah. And this has been like one of the most helpful things.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was like that song that I hate everything
about you.
Yeah. And so he put that on and he was like, even if you repeat it, write it again. Like don't
what's coming.
Don't stop writing until the song's over. And then wrote out everything and it looked like chicken scratch. Like it was not like eligible whatsoever. And then the song ended and he was like, okay, take a deep breath, fold up your piece of paper and rip it up. And it was like the biggest release I had ever felt. Because it was like, wow, nobody's ever given me the permission to like be angry before.
Right.
I've always been told like, oh, don't cry. It's okay. Which is like, I get that's something you want to say when you're trying to comfort somebody, but it's like,
but crying is good.
Yeah.
For you.
I cry at everything.
It literally is really good for you.
And my sadness or anxiety or anger or depression comes out in tears. It never comes out as like full-blown rage.
Right.
So when somebody gave me the permission to go into a full-blown rage, it like was this huge release.
But even just that symbology of ripping it up and like letting it go and trying, it's like a whole ceremony for you to like do that. You're not going to sit in your apartment and be like, I need to do this technique.
Exactly.
Like, you know, it's
exactly.
just,
until somebody tells you.
Exactly.
And
so
gives you
aware.
like the allotted time.
Yes.
And you're like, it's just 3 minutes of your day. And then you do it.
It's like homework. You have to do it because you're there.
Yeah. And so that was probably one of the best things that not the best things I got out of it, but one of like, you know, and then we had to gift people songs.
Yeah.
Like, and that was a really amazing one.
At the end, like when you got to know someone a little bit more.
Yeah. Like, when they left, when they like graduated from the program, basically.
What did someone give you?
My therapist gave me the song Just a Thought. I forget who it's by. I know AJ from Allie and AJ. She's on a cartoon and she sings the song with somebody else.
Oh, wow.
And then Invincible by Kelly Clarkson was one of them. I'm trying to think. I have a whole
whole group gave you
the whole
song.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And so I know the songs that I gave people like By the Grace of God.
So good. Everyone should listen to that if you're struggling with mental health.
That song helped me so much.
Or suicidal thoughts, for sure. That's so good.
Yeah. But so, I mean, just like the power of music, and then just too, like there's just something so amazing about being in that place, because it wasn't just people my age. There was a young boy there who had just found out he was diagnosed with Asperger's and he was struggling with it. Then there was also like this 55-year-old man who was like, I'm just so depressed. I can't get off my couch. I can't get a job. I can't do anything. And like, then there was another person who was completely bipolar. And like every day I would leave there, like feeling so just like grateful for these people because
like your community.
Yeah. And also I was just like so proud of them. Like I
was just about to say that.
Know them personally, but we spent enough time together where I was like, I'm so proud of this person for not giving up.
Yeah. And like you made that choice.
Coming to get help.
You were okay. And like you were so bad that you knew you needed help, or there was not any progress. There wasn't going to be a movement forward.
Right.
And that sometimes what is more sad is that people don't know how to get there, you know?
I think people are too proud to get there sometimes too.
Yeah.
Like, and a lot of
pride.
it too was
or ego.
Selena Gomez. Like, I know that sounds like crazy, but like, I remember exactly where I was when I saw that she had checked into a mental health facility. And I remember being so like worried about her, but also just like, oh my God, like that is amazing for her to be able to do this, and like good for her for being open about it. And, you know, that was a big reason why I was like, you know what? And like same with Jennifer Aniston. Like when I went through a really horrible breakup, I Googled everything Jennifer Aniston did after her divorce, because I was like, if she can do it, I can do it. And that's the same thing with Selena Gomez. I was like, if she can go seek mental health and let the entire globe know that she's doing it, like I don't care what people think about me. I want to get better.
Yeah,
and like
100%. I mean, there's that end, but then there's also the end of us that don't have as much money where like we've had that conversation before. We're like, yeah, they can go to these amazing fancy places and do all this and everyone is willing to help them. I mean, when you're a celebrity and you're famous, people are like, come here, over here. Like everyone is, all the answers are coming to them. They're not having to search for it as much as normal people have to. So I feel like we have that conversation a lot, but that's the beauty of you is you literally have like scoped out and seeked your answers for so long and like done the work and tried to do it. Cause you hear about that happening. I feel like you hear about what you went through with like celebrities. Like I went to this retreat or I did this for my mental health. And it's like, you don't really hear about that with just people
in your day-to-day life.
Yeah. And it's like, it's inspiring because you can say to the people that are listening, I was able to do it and I'm literally broke. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can too. Like it's, you don't have to be rich. You don't have to like, you can find help somewhere.
Absolutely.
No matter what.
And like, you know, there's so many books that my therapist recommended.
And YouTube.
YouTube videos are now, there's so many Instagram accounts. Like, you know, I followed a lot of Create the Love. I love his Instagram or Therapy Jeff. Like there's a lot.
You send me so many things all the time that I'm like, wow, I didn't know I needed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but it's just one of those things where I think like the greatest thing that like the greatest piece of advice or the greatest, I mean, there really wasn't any one great thing
where it's like checked off and then you're like, okay.
Yeah. Or like one that's
always evolving,
stuck with me forever, other than the fact that like you have to always remember you're enough and that you like a lot of the not problems, but a lot of the issues I was facing when it was about like my health or relationships or like figuring out my mystery illnesses or whatever, like I just kept thinking I wasn't worthy. I wasn't worthy of being loved by somebody. I wasn't worthy of answers. I wasn't worthy of like people constantly listening to me. And like, so just remembering that like I'm a human being, I am worth this. Like just because I have X, Y, and Z doesn't make me less worthy. And so
and advocate for yourself like you're gonna do for your best friend.
Constantly. And like I think that's why like mental health is so important to me, because there's so many people silently struggling and they don't have to. And like I did for a really long time. And I mean, the reality is we still do. Yeah.
I mean, but that's the toolbox. Like you're growing your toolbox to help you cope with things. You've gotten out of that rock bottom, thank God.
Yeah.
But you had to
like literally dig my way out with a spoon.
Exactly.
Sometimes. And sometimes
like
it was a shovel.
Nails falling off, trying to like scratch your way up. But I mean, again, like we will always have a rock bottom in the future in different ways. Like whether it's like losing someone or not getting somewhere that you worked so hard for, or you know, those type of like struggles that you're always facing every day.
There's always gonna be another mountain. I'm always gonna wanna make it move.
That's a good one. That's one of my old karaoke songs.
The Climb, baby.
Damn, Miley. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like all of the tools along the way that you can gather. I mean,
if you were to go to therapy tomorrow, what is like one thing you would like really want out of it? Like, what is the one issue or like pressing thing with your mental health? You'd be like, this is what I would love to talk to somebody about.
Yeah, it would be fearing everything. Like my fear gets the best of me. I don't move forward because of my fear.
Oh no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like it's either my fear of not doing it right, not succeeding, my fear of dying, my fear of someone getting sick that I love, my fear of, so it's like all these things keep me in this constant little like bubble where I'm like not moving forward because I'm fearful of the unknown. So like to be able to just be like I was in high school and not give a fuck, that was so nice.
Crazy.
Like
ignorance is bliss.
It is so blissful. And it is also so hurtful. That's the bad part. It's like, I did not care about what anyone felt. Like my mom. I cared about other people. Like I cared about my friends and like, you know, people that I was supposed to care for, like in a friend book, but not my mom. Not my mom's mental health, my sisters, my dad. Like I didn't care what they thought.
Yeah, the world is ours. That's it.
And I miss that so much, but I also just wish I could be like I wish I could take both of those. Right. Like not fearing things
and get the
and
best
being able
of both
to do
worlds.
it. The best Dude, Miley, Hannah. No, but that would be my biggest
But I
thing.
get that, but that's a thing 100% that you learn in therapy where it's balancing. Cause I feel the same way where I'm like, I feel so guilty of things I did where I didn't spend time with my family because I was going out partying with my friends, or like even now when I live in LA, I'm like, I'm missing out on this, and this with my family to like sit in my apartment in LA and like not book a job and not make money. And it's like, but you have to, like in therapy, you learn like it's all about balance or being in the present moment. And like one thing doesn't exclude the other. And like, yeah, like it is amazing that we were so fearless and everything in high school, but it was also at the expense of everybody else.
Exactly.
So 100%. Now it's like amazing that you're so self-aware, but then you're like, okay, I'm so self-aware that it's like really hurting me.
Yeah.
No, I totally get that.
Not only that, but like our thoughts are so bad now. Like my thoughts are, I just listened to something. I don't remember what I posted it, but it was like, it was all about perspective. Like if you're seeing your health deteriorating, you're not able to figure out the answers. Like you're seeing yourself going down that path, and you're like, all of the little stones that you're hitting are like, oh, you're going to the doctor, you're getting the bad news, you're trying to figure out treatment, like you die, like type of thing. Instead of being like, I am healthy, here is how I'm getting there. This is a stepping stone here, there. I'm going to get myself healthy food. I am going to start exercising. I'm going to write in a journal. Like when you're looking at things in a different perspective, it's all about that, you know? Right. I don't know if that makes sense. He put it really eloquently.
Well, no, it's true though. I mean, it's the power of the mind.
Yeah.
Like if I keep
it's like we're
telling
on the
myself,
same road, but if we're seeing only the roadblocks, but we're scared. We're not going forward. But if we're seeing like, oh shit, there's a little bit of room on the left right there. I can get around that way if I jump over that.
Right.
Like it's like, are you looking for the end goal or are you like scared of what's in front of you? You know,
but I think too, when we were younger, we hadn't experienced as much trauma, or we didn't realize what we were going through was traumatic until you get to your late 20s and your 30s and you're becoming a full actualized adult and you're on your own, or you're raising a kid and you're realizing like, oh, I didn't realize that stuck with me from years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things like when I was younger, I didn't realize it was trauma that it is now.
Yeah.
Or, you know, even things with my dogs where I'm like, out of nowhere, I'm alone. My dog is falling over. I need to rush her to the ER. I'm freaking out. So now every time I leave my dog, I think something bad's going to happen. I have to tell myself like, that's not true. That is not real.
It's the loop.
And you live in this constant loop, and then you watch Friends to break it up.
Right. The best advice that I know now is good advice. But before, if someone told me, I'd be like, before my dad died, if someone told me this, I would have been like, I mean, yeah, that's a good quote. But now I'm like, okay, it makes so much sense. It was like the worrying. When you worry, you're just putting yourself through it over and over and over again. So your body doesn't know the difference. Your body is making up the scenario that
you're going through the same situation twice.
Yeah, twice. And not only that, but like infinite times, because I'm constantly thinking of different things. But what I realized after my dad is no matter whatever crazy idea I had of like, oh, if my dad dies, nothing I ever envisioned and stressed about and worried about touches the surface of how it actually feels.
Right.
You know what I mean? So why did I put myself through that? Like, it just sucks. And it's like, now I carry that with me because I'm like, even if I lost someone, I could never think of the feeling that it's going to give me eventually. So why am I trying to feel that way now? Like before I lost my dad, I was so empathetic towards people. I wanted to feel their loss. I wanted to be like, you're experiencing loss. I want to take that on as my own and feel it with you. And like, that's just who I was. Yeah. And now I'm like, I don't know what to say to you because I feel that too. Like we will all inevitably go through something like that or something that's, you know, traumatizing, a disease, an illness, something like that, that like, you're never going to know that feeling until you hit there. So why even worry about it now?
Right.
You know, and I mean, it's so hard to do, but I'm reminded of that all the time. I'm like, I'm doing this for literally no reason because it doesn't even touch it. Yeah. To wrap this up though, I mean, yeah, I hope everyone listens. Well,
I'm really happy we had this conversation. Also because I feel like it's the most serious you and I have ever gotten in a really long time. Yeah. Like, which doesn't say much. Yeah, that's true. I mean, we can go on for hours, but this is kind of like a glimpse of what, like, I wanted to do like my first kind of introduction episode with somebody who I'm very comfortable with, so I can get used to like asking the questions, answering the questions, and like really being able to listen to somebody.
Please.
But it's also just nice to be able to talk to somebody like, I mean, you and I talk about our mental health all the time and like the fears we have and the ruminating thoughts and the anxiety and depression. And like, you are really good at, like, for me with you, when I'm depressed, I only want to talk to you, or I can feel myself.
Such a compliment.
Whenever I feel myself like getting super depressed, or like, I'm like, it's when you and I haven't like had a long conversation in a while.
Yeah.
Like when you were on the road for like a month, I was like, I felt so disconnected to who I was. And I was like, I haven't really laughed with anybody. I don't feel like I don't feel like
After
anybody
that,
like,
you were like, don't ever
I hated it.
do that.
I hated it. Like, I just feel like there's one person in this world who just gets it, and that's you. Like, I could literally say anything to you and you would understand. And so it's like, it's one of those things where like and your depression is so much different, where you're like, I'm so sorry, I haven't picked up the phone or called you. Like, I just can't do, like, I can't talk.
Totally
I don't have. So it's so interesting, but it's hard because as two people who go through depression a lot, it's like, how do we be there for each other? Because I'm like, I need you all the time. Right. And you're like, I just want to be by myself. My cup is empty.
Yeah.
But that's also good that you know how to like tell people that and be like, I'm sorry, I can't help you because I can't help myself right now.
Yeah, and it took forever to get there though. You know what I mean? I feel like it took forever to get to a place where we were both like, okay, we see each other and we see our boundaries. We recognize them. I mean, there's also like a fine line of like, I respect your boundary. I love you. And also like, I also just want you to know that I do feel disconnected and I love you and I need you like when you're ready. Right. Like I still love you and I need you.
But it's so interesting because I feel like a lot of people who go through grief are like that.
Yeah.
Like I have a friend who is dealing with a partner who is dealing with a loss right now.
Yeah.
And had to say the same thing. Like, I know that what you're going through is completely horrible, but like, I have no support right now in this. And this is all new for me also. And like, I'm not doing well either.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's hard because like, I definitely like, I mean, you and I have been friends for well over 10 years. I don't even know how long
Way
now. We are like you are a partnership in my life.
Yeah.
Like you're the closest thing to a boyfriend I got. Kid.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
But so it is definitely like,
but over time, I will say you have recognized that too.
Right.
Like you're like, okay, like I recognize that I'm not married to you.
Right.
But like, I also love you a lot and you're my best friend.
Right.
So sometimes it gets harder because I'm like, dang, I don't have time for anyone right now.
Right.
Let alone.
And that's why I have my therapist.
Exactly. And that's why everyone should have a therapist.
That's why everybody should have a therapist because like, you know, everybody should have that person that they go to for an hour a week and just get everything out and like
pay them to get out and give you your tools.
Yeah.
So you can use them in the world. And then also you can give them to your friends that aren't going.
Yeah.
No, but it's true.
Wrapping all this up.
Yes.
Thank you so much for doing this. This was the very first episode of this. It's kind of a little bit all over the place. I'm going to figure it out. And also, if you are in the Las Vegas area, Sarah is an amazing photographer.
Thank you.
And she does family shoots. She has taken every picture of me and my dogs. And any photo shoot, I am like, I know I need to like be smiling. I'm not great at smiling in pictures. If I need to have like a cheesy smile headshot, I go to Sarah because she brings that out of me and she makes it fun. Okay, so what is your Instagram handle for your photography?
happyheart_film photo. Anyways, thank you, friend. I love that so much.
Okay, well, I love you so much. Thank you for doing this, and we'll see where this podcast goes. And thank you for being one of my only friends.
Can't wait. That was so cute.